Hey guys, it's Courtney from Cosmic Clarity Astrology, and I'm here today to talk to you about the Aquarius New Moon happening on January 29th. And I am filming in a different location because my brother recently got into a ski accident, and I am basically doing everything for him because the poor guy can't do much. So, I might be here for a while, we'll see, but I'm excited to keep up with the astrology content for you guys. So what is this new moon about? So first of all, this new moon, like I mentioned, is in Aquarius. It's around 10 degrees. It's a little bit less than 10 degrees. And in Sabian symbols, you round up to the next degree. So basically Sabian symbols is somebody who is channeling what they thought each degree meant in astrology and kind of giving its own unique meaning. So 10 degrees of Aquarius is popularity that proves ephemeral. So this is a time where we might notice that certain things are, maybe certain people or certain things, especially government related things, could become popular, but it could lose its popularity, or it could be something that comes about right now but doesn't necessarily have the staying power to it. So one thing that on a personal level we can look for is having a focus on sustaining our own self-worth and self-confidence rather than looking for the praise or approval outside of us from others. And this really comes, into Aquarius, because Aquarius is always about some form of being different or rebelling and doing things in a unique type of way. And so it's important for Aquarians to not have a fixation or an over attachment to being understood and praised and admired, because they're usually ahead of their time. They're usually doing things that are, alternative to what society in general is approving of. And so that's something that I think we can all keep in mind, is how we can look to our own sense of, integrity right now, especially because this new moon is making a trine to Jupiter in Gemini. So Jupiter is a lot about our moral system and our philosophy of life and our integrity. And so we want right now to stay true to our own specific belief systems, regardless if that's what is in the media or what other people are saying or what is popular or whatever that is. It's important right now to stay true to ourselves and whatever the sense of that word means for you. We may find, during an Aquarius new moon, that we start to notice more social injustices. Aquarius is about the people. And so when we have a new moon in this sign, people are becoming aware of how the masses are treated. It's kind of that the class system has become more obvious during Aquarius seasons. So we might notice some unfairness, some injustice, some corruption within our government towards the people during this time, especially when it's concerned with material wealth and putting that above people's well-being. Aquarius is about taking that injustice and doing something about it. So this is where the authenticity piece comes into place, because you have to fight for what you believe is true and what you believe is right. And Aquarius, because it's a sign of awakening or enlightenment, it's a good time for us to, share our experiences with other people or consume certain media that helps us see a more enlightened perspective. And it is a lot about the spread of word from one person to another, because again, this new moon is trining Jupiter in Gemini, and Gemini is all about mass communication, especially online with this being in Aquarius. So really kind of learning about news and things going on in other people's lives and starting to make connections about how there are certain injustices taking place and awakening more people to what's really happening in our world in any form, in any industry. Really, it's not just specific to one thing. Mercury is also in Aquarius conjunct Pluto in Aquarius. Mercury conjunct Pluto tends to be a little bit paranoid, and for good reason. It's very good at picking up on things that are meant to be hidden from society. Oh, we don't talk about that. That's taboo. That's a subject that we kind of just gloss over in our day-to-day lives. When Mercury conjuncts Pluto, we start to dig deeper into those subjects, and we start to ask more questions and penetrate to below the surface of what's being presented to us. So it's a good time to trust your intuition and to really ask those hard-hitting questions around what's happening, what's true, who can we trust in this instance, and not accepting things at face value. Mercury conjunct Pluto on a personal level can also bring greater intimacy into relationships, because Pluto is a planet of intensity and of depth. And so when we have this in a strong connection in a synastry chart or in our natal chart or in a transit like this, it brings about the potential for really close bonds and people coming together to serve one another or support one another. That's especially true because Mars is currently retrograde in Cancer, and at the time of this new moon, it's squaring Chiron. So Mars square Chiron can indicate where we might feel like we're basically, whatever Chiron touches, we get more sensitive to it. So when Mars is retrograding through Cancer, which has to deal with topics related to our home, our family, our country, our sense of belonging and where we come from, when Mars is in Cancer and highlighting those topics and it squares Chiron, it makes us more sensitive to the plight of others concerning those topics. So for example, this is a time where people can come together and be more generous and more expressive with one another, more supportive, or provide more acts of service for one another. There's a sense of like, let's come together because I see the suffering in certain ways with people in my life or in my country or in whatever this is in regards to that you feel hits close to home. For me, it's happening on a very obvious level. My brother is hurt. I'm sensitive to his suffering and I'm here helping him. So that's the kind of like a symbolic version of what society might be experiencing right now. But there's almost a desire to make other people feel more at home or create more safety and protection, because Cancer obviously is the crab, and it has that protection of its shell. And so it's a very kind of defensive and secure sign, and it wants that for other people. And so we might see that both threatened right now, as well as others being more sensitive to that and trying to add additional support and to come in there and offer that safety and protective structures, because we are stronger together. Aquarius is also a sign very concerned with the future and concerned with progress. So right now is a time of planning. On a personal level, we may be facing certain choices that we need to make in regards to our future plans. And Aquarius does kind of ask us to think outside of the box. Again, to do things in a different way, to behave differently in order to create a more solid foundation for ourselves. So if, for example, you have, if you thought maybe life was going to go a certain way, or if you had certain plans and life is in this flux, then this Aquarius new moon kind of asks you to be adaptable, especially with this trine to Jupiter and Gemini, mutable sign. It's like, how can we think progressively about the future, act differently, think outside the box in ways of finding solutions to things that crop up in the moment, and kind of react and think on our toes in a way. The ruler of this moon is also Saturn, and Saturn right now is sitting pretty close to Venus. Venus, Neptune, and the North Node are all in a tight conjunction in the sign of Pisces. And again, Saturn is there, but it's hanging out a little bit farther away. So there's a lot of emphasis right now on relationships. And Aquarius is a weird sign because it has both a concern with people and a detachment from people at the same time. It's a humanitarian focused sign, and in that sense, it can become sometimes depersonalized to like the social graces, I guess, of, a Libra, for example, or a Gemini, the other air signs. But with Saturn being in Pisces and being so close to Venus, and Venus and Neptune and the North Node all being together, there is a very strong emphasis on supporting the underdog. Pisces is the underdog. It's the people who are outcasts from society, who are elderly, who are sick, who are hurt, again, like my brother, who need additional support. And so I think that that's a lot of what this Aquarius new moon is about, is the focus on relationships and creating a support system for those who maybe don't have the ability to support themselves. There's also another thing here around kind of holding one another accountable, because Saturn is a karmic planet after all. And so that could be also an element in relationships where we all need to kind of hold one another accountable at this time. Ultimately, I think that there is the potential for certain challenges to be presented, especially with Mercury conjunct Pluto and Mars squaring Chiron. These transits are a little bit more on the negative side. And so there can be certain things that come up that feel a little bit challenging, even if it's just on the mental and emotional plane. Whatever does come up right now for us, there's a need to overcome the challenge and keep moving forward by breaking tradition. So again, if you had a specific set idea or expectation for how certain things were going to go in life, or your certain timelines, or if you had a specific plan, you might need to make changes to that plan in order to overcome the current hurdles that we're going to experience at this time. I think one of the big things that we need to kind of be aware of as a society is the work that we need to put into our relationships and how we need to come together and support one another. How we are in a period of needing to overcome challenges and recover on a mental, emotional, or even a physical plane. We need to be very careful where our mindset is, because we need to create and cultivate a positive type of future for ourselves. And again, think outside the box. But the other form of this that Aquarius can go into is becoming too detached, where they get overwhelmed by something and they kind of disassociate. So if you're seeing people not being as present, that is likely something that's going on for them. So we need to be careful of our focus again, and making sure that we're cultivating what we want intentionally. This is a time where we're meant to focus on how we care for ourselves and others, with Mars retrograding in Cancer. And we might need to adjust the ways that we care for ourselves. Also, because this is an air sign and it is trining Jupiter in another air sign, we may experience really rapid change, rapid news, rapid growth. There's this feeling of acceleration, and that's only going to continue when Uranus moves into Gemini, but that's not happening yet. So ultimately, I think that this is a time where we can use this Aquarius energy to move towards more mindfulness, more enlightenment around the current situations that we're experiencing, where we can carefully and intentionally cultivate a plan while also thinking outside of the box and thinking on our toes, and create more of a support system for the people who need it, including ourselves with Mars and Cancer. This could be talking about yourself and your relationship with yourself, where you need to pour back into, your own needs. And you may need to adjust how you show up energy-wise with work, with projects, with working out, all those things, because Mars is retrograding in Cancer and is asking us to reflect and make changes to those elements of our life. So that is an overview for the general description of this new moon. And then we're going to go ahead and dive into what this is going to look like for all of the rising and sun signs. So make sure you check that out in my description box down below. And don't forget to also give me a thumbs up on this video. I am trying to grow my YouTube channel this year. I want to make more content, and the only way I can do that is if I continue to see progress. Otherwise, obviously, I'll have to adjust where I spend my time. So if you do enjoy this content and you want more of it, please do interact somehow. Drop an emoji in the comments, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, anything. And don't forget to also click on your zodiac sign down below. Bye. All right, so up first we have Aries rising. This Aquarius new moon is taking place in your 11th house of community, of your online network, of your friendships. So this is a new beginning happening in those areas of your life. The 11th house, though, is also an area related to our kind of future endeavors and our plans and our goals. So you guys might find that you are maybe in some kind of liminal phase with your goals right now, because the ruler of this new moon, Saturn, is in Pisces in your 12th. The 12th house is the house of the unseen. And so there might be some kind of process that you're going through right now, maybe some kind of transition, and you're trying to figure out what that next phase is for you, but you might, again, not really have clarity on exactly what that's going to look like. It's almost like you're kind of walking through a dark room and you're feeling your way around, and you have your instinct and your intuition to go off of, but not everything is being illuminated. And I can see that with the Empress and the Sun in reverse. There's a phase of needing to really trust what the universe is presenting to you right now. And that could be, again, signs and synchronicity, dreams, your intuition, something that somebody says to you in a conversation. Is a need to trust those kind of signposts, because in this phase of, planning for your future, but also being in a liminal phase with something or a transition, those are your signposts or your guideposts along the way. And the Empress is all about trusting that the universe has your back, trusting that you can lean into the unknown and that you're not going to fall to your death. I also got the Nine of Wands in reverse. So your planetary ruler, Mars, is currently retrograde. So it's already kind of a time for you where there's a lot more introspection, or there should be, around how you should be living your life. This could be in terms of your, like, where you live, or your physical health, or your work, or your relationships. But this is a time where you're meant to be introspective around your personal identity and kind of like your behaviors and the way that you move through life. So again, kind of a liminal phase, transition phase, because you're a little bit in this period of not only what is next, but who even am I, or how do I want to approach doing what's next differently. And maybe I even see myself differently, or see my life differently as a result of these things that have been changing. And so that's Mars retrograde. But right now it's also making a square to Chiron. So this is a time in which you might feel a little bit more depleted with this Nine of Wands in reverse. This is a time where you might be kind of just like almost wanting to give up a little bit on certain things in your life. Maybe you've reached the end of the road with something. Maybe you feel just fed up. I don't know. There's just something here where you could feel like physically, mentally, emotionally a little bit more exhausted and depleted. And you might feel, again, uncertain around how something is going to work out. So this could be many areas of your life, one area of your life. It's going to depend. Mars is in your 4th house. So this could be specifically talking about things related to your family or your living situation, or even stuff from the past that's coming back up, or things that feel emotionally very close to home. But it doesn't have to be just about those things. So yes, I mean, I guess I should not just leave it like that. Let me pull an advice card for you, Aries. What's your advice for how to navigate this phase of transition and maybe feeling a little bit fed up or tired with something? So I pulled the Pancreas card. So I know that the pancreas is important in terms of producing insulin. So let's see what it says here. Insecurity, low self-esteem, compulsive behaviors. This is a time where you want to be really aware of how low self-esteem or insecurity can be contributing to self-destructive behaviors and patterns, or any kind of addictive patterns that continue to reinforce negative self-talk and negative self-beliefs. So don't allow yourself to indulge the inner critic, because you can get stuck in that self-destructive cycle. So your advice here is that you may be feeling a little bit like down on yourself because of the sensitivity of Mars square Chiron. Chiron can make us very insecure. So this is temporary. Know that this is just, you're just going to be feeling this for a few days, or maybe a little bit longer, because Mars is going to retrograde and then go back. So, but regardless, this is a temporary transit. So this feeling of maybe being like tender or uncertain or insecure with something in your life is going to pass. And it's important not to feed into that inner dialogue in regards to that. So I did pull 3 other cards. I feel like this is probably talking about your future and what this Aquarius new moon is actually going to present to you in the next 6 months when we have the Aquarius full moon complete the cycle. So we have the Page of Pentacles, the Chariot, and the Hermit. So there's something here where I feel like you guys are going to be doing some really deep self-reflection. We did talk about that with Mars being retrograde in your sign. Some deep self-reflection on who am I? What do I stand for in this life? What do I really value? What do I want to move towards? And from this place, you're able to move more quickly into some kind of new physical opportunity. So this could be you realizing that the current place that you live doesn't actually suit you and you're ready to uproot and make new friends in a new community. And that is, again, a new beginning in the 11th house with Aquarius. This is a new plan for your future, new community, new friends. That makes a lot of sense. It doesn't have to be like that example, but there's a sense of having some kind of new plan that aligns more with the inner work that you're doing, the inner self-reflection. And it's going to ultimately be something more fulfilling for you because of the way that it's going to be more updated with who you are today. So anything else about this? She who hopes, love, hope, and relationships. So this is a time where you just need to hold on to your sense of faith around what's happening for you in life. We do, again, have Venus, Neptune, and the North Node all together in Pisces in your 12th house. This is a time of needing to have hope and faith. And then also with this being about relationships as well. I mean, Saturn is next to Venus. Venus is super highlighted this new moon. This is very much about relationships. So where can you seek support? Where can you get more hope as a result of being in a connection, in a bond, in a friend group, whatever this is, even if it's just an online thing? There is a sense of finding community to uplift you so that you don't feel like you're going through this time alone. So that is what I'm saying for Aries. I hope that resonates. If it does, please do comment down below. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe and share with your friends. Again, I'm trying to grow my channel this year, so I really appreciate any type of interaction at all, even an emoji in the comments down below. And I hope you guys have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next we have Taurus rising and sun. So for you guys, this Aquarius new moon is happening in your 10th house of career, life objectives, public standing. So this is a time where you guys might have some kind of new goals emerge for yourself, because again, Aquarius is all about the vision of our future and our plans. And it being in the 10th house of career, there's going to be something unfolding for you that maybe is a little bit unexpected. Again, Aquarius is about doing something that is different than what we are used to. And this could involve some kind of influence from other people, because the ruler of this new moon, Saturn, is in your 11th house. And it's kind of loosely next to Venus. But regardless, the 11th house is a very community and relationship oriented house. And this could be that you guys are learning some kind of new idea or having some kind of new topic come up online, or having something going on in your friend group, or just something like this that helps open you up to a new way of going about your career or some kind of big life goals for yourself. It's interesting because the 2 cards that I've pulled so far are in reverse. The Page of Swords and the Ace of Cups. It makes me feel like you guys, with the Page of Swords in reverse, it makes me feel like this is an idea that you hadn't considered before, or that wasn't on the table of some sort. Yeah, something that is coming to you that you may have had some resistance around, or that you just didn't see at all. And then the Ace of Cups, I think I need to pull a clarifier for that, but they make me think about the relationship element of this new moon. So yeah, again, if there is something around this idea that feels like a little bit uncertain, it's okay to just go with it. All these cards are coming out in reverse. That's just unusual because most of this deck is upright. So we got the Ace of Cups and the 10 of Pentacles in reverse. This makes me wonder if you guys are going to be stopping something. Any kind of, let's clarify for the 10 of Pentacles in reverse. 8 of Pentacles, upright. Okay, let me pull one advice card. The skull and the eye. Okay, yeah, there is something that's changing about your goals or like the way that you're going about them, because the skull is about somebody being a little bit like hard-headed, and Aquarius is a fixed sign, so it can be quite rigid in its approach to things. It gets an idea for how it thinks something should be, and it's a little bit hard to change its mind sometimes. And so there could be something here in regards to your career, or some kind of idea that you had for a goal that you wanted, or direction that you want to move into your life in general. And with the skull card, you might have a little bit of like just a little bit of resistance to changing that or adapting it. But this new moon feels like we have to be adaptable, especially with the ruler of it being, Saturn being in Pisces, and with so much emphasis with the North Node, Neptune, and Venus all in Pisces. There's a very strong energy of like flow and movement and adapting. And this, I feel like, is going against maybe a more intrinsic nature of, being a fixed sign as a Taurus, and having, your career area or your goal area in a fixed sign as well. It might feel like, again, it's somehow going against what you thought originally. But I don't know. I feel like you guys are going to be opening up to a new way of seeing something, especially through other people. So really be on the lookout, like be open-minded right now around what other people are saying. With this eye card, it also is talking about being very observant and trusting what you see, trusting your instinct and your intuition with things. So there can be stuff that's more complex or hiding beneath the surface. With Mercury conjunct Pluto right now, also in your 10th house, you guys might just be picking up on some things that yeah, I feel like you are picking up on things that maybe you weren't seeing before, or you're having some kind of intuition around things that's going to open up your career path or your goal path or your future in a new type of way. It says, from a place of instinct and learned experience, you can envision the many possibilities and future potential of a situation. So, yeah, this could also mean that there are certain things that you are doing right now that you have intuition about, that you're like, okay, that's not going to work, with the 10 of Pentacles, Ace of Cups in reverse. And instead you kind of go and develop a different area with the 8 of Pentacles. I don't know. It feels like you're being very strategic right now with this 8 of Pentacles, and developing something based off of what the current environment and the current world is telling you, through some sort of evidence. So, for example, if you had a business, this would be you seeing like, okay, people aren't really they're not really finding me through YouTube. They're finding me through referrals. How can I cultivate more referrals? I've always wanted to do YouTube. I've always saw myself doing YouTube, but now I'm going to do referrals. It's like that, where you're listening to what the environment is telling you, and you're responding to it, and you're trusting your instincts around it as well. And you're more perceptive right now, and a little bit more open-minded than usual to adapt to what the environment is trying to tell you through your observations. It, again, might not be something that you want initially. There might be some resistance there, especially because Mars is in the 3rd house squaring Chiron on the 12th. The 3rd house is our mind, and Mars is about our behavior. So there can be some resistance with the square to Chiron to change your mind and change your behavior as a result of new information coming in. You could feel sensitive around it, or uncertain around it, or insecure around it. It's like, if somebody tells you something that you don't want to hear, it could be wounding to the ego, or it could be scary to go outside of your comfort zone, or to try something in a new way. That's the kind of vibe I'm getting from this. So one of your advice is, she who surrenders chains, bondage, and release. So part of your advice here is to get unstuck from the past in a way where it's like you're not being rigid in the way that you always do things. You're not chaining yourself to one specific manner of doing things or one specific outcome. It feels like you're surrendering by not resisting what the world is telling you, and you are adapting accordingly. And as a result of that, you're being released from maybe feeling a little bit stuck or a little bit stagnant or behind or whatever that feeling could be. So it's almost like you get more liberated by trying something new and by breaking the chains of your, I guess, existing cycles. And it might even feel freeing eventually as you get further down the line, especially at the Aquarius full moon, which will happen 6 months from now. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Taurus. It's time to get out of some kind of, rut. I don't know if the rut is the right word necessarily, but some pattern of resistance, and be a little bit more open-minded and adaptable. So I hope that resonates. If it does, please let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, not my friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next you have Gemini rising and sun. So for you guys, this Aquarius new moon on January 29th is taking place in your 9th house. And Aquarius, as I've been mentioning, is a sign concerned with progress, with innovation, with being inventive. Is that a word? Industrious, where you are kind of using the resources around you to create something new and better and grow in some capacity. The 9th house is also a house of growth. It's a house of learning, of education, of striving for more in some type of way. This could be striving for more through traveling or through, again, learning about something, going on some kind of adventure. What is going on? I keep pulling all reversals, the last group too. And again, a lot of these cards are upright. So, okay. Yeah. So basically, I really feel like you guys are in some kind of phase with this new moon where you're meant to be dedicated to again, learning something or growing in some kind of capacity. So, okay. Let me talk about the cards and then I'll get back to the astrology. So we have the Justice card in reverse. It's interesting because I felt like this kept coming out when I was doing the overview and I was pulling cards on it. The Justice in reverse talks about things that are unfair. Things that are kind of like, yeah, like karma coming back, things that are just imbalanced in our life, and it's kind of hard to maintain a sense of equilibrium. Because we start off with this Justice in reverse, and then the last card we end with was the Two of Pentacles, which is a card of balance. So there's something there's some kind of like storyline here where you're coming from a phase of things being really unfair or really imbalanced, and it gets into a place where through your own willpower, you are able to bring things into greater balance in your life. So, and this could have a lot to deal with your own perspective on things. With an Aquarius new moon in the 9th house, this is very much concerned with beliefs and your viewpoint of things. So there might be some way that you can take a literal unfair situation or unjust situation in the world or in your life, and through your convictions and your beliefs and your way of viewing the world, you are able to take this situation and make something out of it to create more balance or more justice or more fairness in something. And that doesn't mean it's going to be affecting everybody, but it does feel like it's going to have a public impact of some sort, or a career impact for you, because the ruler of this moon, Saturn, is in your 10th house in Pisces. So there's something here where it's like your ability to take an imbalanced situation and create balance, and an unjust situation and create justice, is somehow going to affect your career trajectory or affect people through the public that you know or that you somehow influence. There's just something here. It's like because of your mindset, the strength of your mindset or the way that you adapt or change your mindset. Because of that, you are able to then, again, create more of the sense of balance or justice. And it may come as a result of uprooting some uncomfortable feelings with the moon and the Ace of Cups in reverse. There can be some truths or some things that you have to kind of like sort through in order to get to the right type of mindset to create the sense of justice or balance that progresses your career or that helps other people out in the world. So you're doing the dirty inner work. And when I say dirty, I mean dirty in the sense that it's difficult. You're getting your hands dirty by going into the trudges and like digging up old shit in your life, basically. And I just feel like that's going to benefit you a lot. Yeah, so she who whispers, secrets, confessions, and confidant. Some of you guys might actually be able to expose some kind of truth because Mercury and Pluto are also together in Aquarius in your 9th house. So there might be something where you can publicly expose some kind of truth of some sort, or that you can work with your own like hidden aspects of the self, things that you've kind of, maybe some of your own fears, some certain things that you haven't actually wanted to address or feel or whatever, that you could be pulling up from, again, from these kind of depths. And that transformation or that work that you do results in a transformation in your perspective that helps you create more justice and more balance. So it's like, yeah. I see the truth coming to light. I don't think things will be secret with the secrets card. I think things will be coming out to light. And that could be a little bit uncomfortable with Mars in your 2nd squaring Chiron in your 11th. I am curious, like if this will... With Chiron the 11th, I wonder if there's some kind of like truth or some kind of conversation that you have with somebody, or opening your heart about something, or coming to terms with something. There's something going on like that where there's a feeling of being exposed, things coming out to the light, and that helps you shift the perspective in the right way to, again, be able to juggle more in your life and balance more things and create more justice and fairness in your life and in your career, or like advance your career in some way. But you may have to have certain relationship things that you're navigating that, yeah, where you're having a heart-to-heart, or people are being honest with one another, something like that. Okay. So I pulled the brain card. This is one of your advice cards. Inspiration has struck and you are bursting with ideas. You're feeling creative, ambitious, and motivated with a clear vision. You're committed to learning and expanding your knowledge base, and now is the time to build upon everything you've learned to achieve your goals. So that's exactly what we were talking about initially with this being a new moon in the 9th house around learning, and it's directly impacting your career or your public life. There's some kind of ambition or some kind of goal that you're directing this learning towards, or this growth towards, where it's not just learning and growth in general, where you're like maybe learning about a new subject, but it's also learning about yourself and the self-reflection and a self-assessment, especially with Mars retrograding in Cancer in your 2nd, especially concerning your values, your priorities in your life. Oh, that's absolutely true. The 2 of Pentacles, I think things are really imbalanced in your life in some kind of way. And I think what you're needing to do is assess your priorities and how you manage the things that you own, or your finances, or your time. So this could look like restructuring something within, your day-to-day life, trying to make money in different ways, expending less energy. There's just something here where it's like things are unfair and imbalanced, and you have to go back to the drawing board a little bit and do some inner work and reflection on things that you haven't maybe fully like spoken aloud yet. And then you realize, okay, this is what needs to change. I feel like this is kind of vague because I'm just seeing so many different examples in my mind of what this could be impacting. Some of you guys, this could be impacting, like it could be changing the way that you view your long-term goals with Mars square Chiron on the 11th. It could also change certain relationships or friendships as well. If you find that certain people don't value certain things or don't have the same kind of priorities as you. But if it changes some of your long-term goals, it could be something that makes you feel also a little bit insecure or sensitive about. And if it adjusts certain friendships, that could also be an area that feels a little bit more insecure or uncertain as a result of this. So yeah, basically this new moon is about you growing and learning something that's going to help advance your career, create more justice or more balance with something in your life, and reevaluating certain priorities, especially when it comes to money or like how you make money. Okay, so I have one advice card, it's hope. Or one more, I should say, since I pulled one. So hope. Daffodils indicate a reprieve for those who need it. That's what I'm saying. I feel like there's some kind of like imbalance in your life. This could look like so many things, like where you're overworking and you're not, feeling like you have enough time to yourself, or where you feel like something unfair is going on in your life and you're really trying to accept it and learn from it, or there's something that you want to accomplish, or it's something you want, but it's given to someone else. I don't know. There's so many scenarios, but there's something where it's like you need some kind of reprieve. You need some kind of like justice to come back or balance to come back into your life. And this is a card that's telling you to hope because your reprieve is on the way. It's a time to renew faith, not only in life, but in those around you. Absolutely. This is a very, again, community-oriented new moon. So it is about your support system as well. Daffodils will lift optimism and boost endurance while encouraging you to keep going. This is a period of personal and spiritual growth, as well as spiritual awakenings. Answers can be found within aspects of these. Listen to your inner voice. Do not become overwhelmed with negative self-talk. I feel like this card sums all that up really well. I hope that this made sense. This felt a little bit all over the place and abstract, but I think that there's just so many scenarios that this could apply to, so I didn't want to get super specific. Again, I hope that this resonates with you. If it does, please let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, next we have Cancer rising and sun. This Aquarius new moon happening on January 29th is taking place in your 8th house. And Mercury and Pluto are also here next to, or very close to this new moon. And yeah, I think that there can be quite a bit of intensity that comes with a new moon in the 8th, especially with Mercury and Pluto together there as well. So let's talk about it. So one of the first cards I pulled was the stomach card. This has to deal with having trouble accepting or digesting a certain kind of situation. There can be resistance to what is, denial to what is, again, just difficulty fully comprehending something or accepting something. This is interesting because Mars is currently retrograding in your 1st house. So this is a time really for my Cancers where you are going through a period of reinvention, and especially on an emotional level, I feel like you guys might start to understand yourselves differently, especially again through your emotions, through your intuition, or you might understand, I guess, like your self-concept and the way that you want to present to the world differently through this transit of Mars retrograde. And that can feel especially sensitive right now because Mars is squaring Chiron in the 10th. So you might start feeling like you're in a period of reinvention, but in that kind of difficult phase where maybe you are comparing yourself to where you want to be, or to other people, or to what society says success looks like, or you might feel like you should look a certain way. There's just a certain degree of pressure that we can put on ourselves. And again, your feelings can really kind of point to you what is maybe off in your life, but they can also be a little bit distorted. So you kind of have to keep that in mind. With the King of Swords in reverse and King of Cups upright, this feels like you guys are kind of in your feels a little bit too much. You guys, again, I had that what was it, a Cancer full moon, and I was like, don't trust your feelings. It's not that you can't always trust your feelings. It's just that sometimes they can be, you know, aggrandized, is that a word, or too big for the situation. And with the King of Swords in reverse, I almost feel like I want to warn you guys of you might need to lean a little bit more into the Aquarian energy of logic and detachment and being just, yeah, I guess like trying to be a little bit less subjective with certain things, because I feel like you could be either hard on yourself, especially with this Mars squaring Chiron in your 10th, you could be hard on yourself for something, or it could, you know, your big feelings around something could make it really hard to accept what has happened or what is happening in your life, or certain things about yourself that you need to accept, or certain things about your past. With this new moon being in the 8th house is often linked with things related to our past. There can be a lot of fears, and especially with Mercury and Pluto together, we can really get in our head and we can overthink and we can start to worry about things. And I can see that here with the 5 of Pentacles. You guys might be coming from a lack mentality. You might see yourself or the situation through the eyes of lack somehow, or disappointment somehow. And I'm not saying that you can't think that way. I guess what I'm saying is that you can't always trust, you know, the first big emotional thought process around something. Sometimes you have to let the dust settle before you can realize what is actually going on and the nuance of something, and how there's actually a lot more hope in a situation than you might realize, or you're actually doing better than you're giving yourself credit for. Something along those lines, because the advice I pulled for you was the She Who Brings Light, Light Serenity Beacon. So there's something here where you guys need to realize that things aren't as bad as you think that they are. And this new moon in the 8th house being in Aquarius can help you detach a little bit, or see from a witness and observer perspective the kinds of things that you've been struggling with, so that you don't get super thrown with every experience. And that's kind of hard, because I will say that this is with Saturn being the ruler of this new moon and it being in Pisces, Pisces can get really absorbed into their experience and their subjective viewpoint of something. And even sometimes their imagination can distort something or make it worse for them if it wants to, or can make them out of touch with certain realities, which can be used to hurt oneself sometimes. So, and that's why I think Pisces is often the sign super linked with addiction, because there is this feeling of wanting to step into a different mindset, basically, and numb or detach oneself from some of these bigger emotional experiences and the sensitivity that you can have. So there's just something here where it's almost like doing your best to detach a little bit more if you can. Okay. The 5 of Pentacles being next to the 2 of Pentacles, I think you guys need to be really aware of the times in your life where you are driven to do more, be more, have more, juggle more, accept more responsibility, or take more on your shoulders because of a feeling of a deficit or a lack within yourself. This is important because Mars in Cancer wants you to reflect on how your actions are taking care of yourself or are not, or depleting yourself. So if you come from a place of scarcity, of fear, of feeling not good enough, or whatever, you might approach a situation, a relationship, a job, life in general, from this place of lack, and you might feel like you have to juggle it all and be it all and do it all to get what you deserve. And I feel like you guys, as a result of this new moon, are coming into some awareness around that, and this potential for healing, where again, with Saturn being the ruler of this new moon and it being in the 9th, it's almost like trying to give you that witness perspective. So you're able to see from this vantage point, maybe a pattern like this playing out, so that you're able to take a step back and trust a little bit more that the universe is abundant and that things are coming to you, and that you don't have to do it all and be it all and have it all in order to be safe, in order to be loved, in order to you know, move towards the things that fulfill you. Yeah, so let me pull an advice card, or like actually a little bit more context here, Spirit. Any more context here for my Cancers? So we have the Desire. Yeah, it's interesting. That was one of the cards I pulled for the overview. So Desire. Okay, this talks about working more on your current relationships. So 8th house is often very much a relationship-oriented house. So if you are currently experiencing challenges that concern another person, again, this is a time to get a little bit out of your feelings and do your best to detach and accept a situation from a more objective witness perspective that is going to help you in the relationship. Overcoming challenges is indicated, and new material and gain and recovery are shown. This will help you get better mentally and physically and emotionally. It asks you to watch the ways you're caring for yourself and be careful what you're focused on. Exactly. So if you're focused on this deficit, then that's what's going to cultivate more of. And the behavior that comes as a result of that is not healthy. So this is what it's talking about. Are your desires serving your truth? That's a really good question. Okay. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing for you, Cancer. I feel like you are almost like needing to kind of work on your sense of self-worth and your confidence in yourself, and as well as not get caught up in some of the feels that can be distorting certain things and making you think worse of someone or something right now than it actually is. So yeah, I hope that this is helpful for you. If it is, Cancer, please let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, next we have Leo rising and sun. This Aquarius new moon happening on the 29th is taking place in your 7th house of relationships. So this is a new beginning in the area of partnerships. And I really feel like for everybody, this has a lot to do with relationships in general, because Saturn is relatively close to Venus. They're in Pisces together, and Aquarius is also often related to people. So anyway, but for you guys, I think this is a little bit more personal. With this ruler of this new moon, Saturn, being in your 8th house, there is an emphasis or a focus on certain elements of relationships that might come to light around this time with the moon card. There can be things that are revealed about how you really feel about something, or it could be the opposite, where there are certain things happening within the background that you don't know about at this time fully. Regardless, whether it's known or not known, it's going to influence the situation within your relationships. And I kind of feel like, well, I guess what I feel like this is probably saying is maybe there's something here that was unknown that becomes known. Regardless, it's going to have some sort of impact on you in the dynamics with other people. And your advice card for this new moon is Skin, which is all about having necessary boundaries, which can improve your relationships overall. So you might feel like saying no to people or walking away from certain things. You might feel like that actually does the opposite. But this card is telling you that the more that you can get clear on certain boundaries and what you will and won't accept, the better that your relationships will be. So with this new moon being in the 7th, it's a new start for relationships, one in which you can get clear on your expectations and boundaries with others. And again, there can be some element of something that has been like unspoken in the relationship, or something that you've been feeling that you haven't shared, or just something going on here where I feel like it might be weighing on you or affecting you, even if it's not something that's fully come to light yet. With the Page of Wands and 10 of Wands in reverse, it feels like whatever this is has been tiring to you. It might feel like the area of your relationships has been, there could be just it could be a specific relationship. It could even be a job contract if this is talking about that. Or it could be more than one relationship. But regardless, it's something that you're committed to, that you've been working with, that you might have some feelings around that you haven't, again, fully let out yet. And with the Page of Wands and Ten of Wands, I feel like it's leading to a little bit, I mean, with the Page of Wands, it's kind of like it really starts to dim your light, right? Like you know, with the Page of Wands upright, this is somebody who's excited. This is somebody who's confident, who's going after what they want, who's enjoying certain elements of life. When it's in reverse, this can indicate that we're feeling maybe a little bit more like we're lacking that fire. We're lacking that hopefulness, that zest for certain things. And with the Ten of Wands in reverse, we could be at this point where we're ready to give up on something, or we're ready for something to change. We're ready for something to evolve, because the way that things have been in this area of your life may feel like it's been, again, just not really living up to certain expectations. With Six of Wands in reverse as well, it could feel like certain things have been leading to disappointments, or feeling like like a failure with certain things, or broken promises, not achieving or getting certain recognition or support within the relationship or within the work environment, if this is within that. I don't know, there's something here where it's like, yeah, I feel like maybe I'm going unnoticed, and I'm really tired of the way that things are, and my light is dimming a little bit in my relationships, and I have all these feelings about it, but maybe I haven't shared it with people. And with Saturn in the 8th house, this does feel like something very intimate, something very like, maybe it's a fear that you have even, like, you know, will my job ever give me that recognition, or will I ever get that advancement, or will I ever get that relationship, or will my partner ever give me this recognition? And there's something here with your advice being leadership, she who instigates. This is about you coming into your power and not being afraid to stand up for yourself. This is also about provocation. So don't be afraid to provoke, to test things. Maybe test is not the right word, but like to push for what you want and what you deserve, and see how, yes, and people might be affected by it. But I think it's important here to have those really clear boundaries and expectations, and take the lead with certain things on teaching other people how to treat you, or teaching, or like pushing out in the world for what you want. Yeah, there's something here with that. Mars is also currently retrograde, and it's moving through your 12th house and squaring Chiron in the 9th. So again, Mars moving to the 12th can indicate that a lot of this happening is kind of internal, and you're working maybe on a little bit more stuff around like confidence and how you feel you show up in relationships when it comes to like the way that you take care of yourself or take care of others on an emotional level, with Mars being Cancer. So, you know, maybe some of this new moon is working on certain independence in relationships, and creating enough necessary boundaries and space, and taking care of yourself more emotionally, and having that separation from others. Not that you don't have relationships, but it's like creating new relationships that have more boundaries and spaciousness in them, for example. Or maybe it's something else entirely. But regardless, whatever it is that you're working on, it's something that I feel like has been kind of behind closed doors again. Something that you've been maybe just feeling a lot of, or thinking a lot of, or has subconsciously been influencing you in the relationships that you're in. And I think it's been keeping you from maybe taking a stand in certain ways, or standing up for yourself, and asserting certain boundaries. So this Aquarius New Moon is really asking you to do the self-reflection around where you maybe can feel more empowered, more emboldened, and be firmer with people or with yourself when it comes to the relationships that you're in. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Leo. I hope that resonates. If it does, let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next we have Virgo rising and sun. This Aquarius new moon happening on January 29th is taking place in your 6th house of health and routine. So this is a time where we are meant to be kind of thinking about things in different ways. So if you guys have had, you know, a specific kind of routine for yourself for the last little bit, you might find that that's thrown off, that you need to adapt, that you need to adjust to new circumstances in your life right now. Even if things aren't thrown at you, this is a time of innovation and change when it comes to the way that you pursue your work and your day-to-day life right now. Some of you guys could have some kind of new beginning in the area of work. So you could have some type of change within the job place. And this could definitely affect you on a relationship level or a contract level, because the ruler of this moon, Saturn, is in the 7th house of relationships and contracts. So this could mean that maybe there's some shakeup or changes with the people in your workplace, with your coworkers. Maybe you have new people coming in, or maybe you are changing or evolving in your role. Maybe there's something just going on within the work overall. So let's take a look at some of the astrology. I do want to mention a little bit before that, with your planetary ruler Mercury conjunct Pluto, this could be a time in which you might have a little bit more fear, worry, anxiety, or overthinking happening. And this could be especially concerning your health, your productivity, again, your work life, your efficiency. And that is part of the message here with the central nervous system. This talks a lot about processing data really quickly, balancing logic and emotion, and having the best kinds of, again, organization and efficiency and systems in place to get things done. So this could be something that's on your mind or on your heart, or this could be advice for you if you feel like your routine is thrown off. Maybe you need to get a little bit more focused on how you can kind of absorb some of these changes and adapt accordingly. And the Mercury Pluto it can be a little bit worrisome, but in terms of our mindset, we can get a little anxious. Or sometimes it can help you get very intense and very focused and really help you concentrate on what really matters and what feels, purposeful or true to you. So if things are being stripped away or changed or challenged in certain ways, you can kind of get down to the bare bones of what is your biggest priority. And that kind of stems into the first tarot card, which is the Two of Wands. And this is somebody who has a plan. They need to make a choice. They need to make a decision. They need to know where they're going and what they're doing and what's on their agenda for the next 6 months or so. So part of this new moon for you could be about adapting again to the things that are changing within your day-to-day life and creating a new plan that kind of suits your current reality of what's going on for you. I also pulled the Four of Pentacles. So side message, some of you guys might be in a phase of needing to save more money and acting a little bit more conservatively. So if this is some kind of job change, this could affect you on a financial level. Or if this is a change in your routine in your work life, again, this could affect you on a financial level. Some of you guys, this could also affect your health. And the Four of Pentacles can really represent being a little bit more reserved and needing to spend more time indoors, or needing to rest a little bit more, or kind of pull your energy back on a social level. Regardless of what this is, it feels like you're taking a step back a little bit in life right now to plan your future, to make sure that you have the resources that you need, the energy that you need to make certain things happen for yourself. You do have Mars retrograding in the 11th house. So wherever Mars is retrograding is where we're having a little bit more of a reinvention or analysis. With this being in your area of goals and friendships, this is the area that you might find is a little bit more sensitive right now, and more volatile or changeable. I say sensitive because Mars is squaring Chiron in your 8th. So you might find that some of these changes make you sad, or that they are make you feel insecure or uncertain about yourself. For example, you could be making certain goals and then doubt yourself, or you could have certain changes or things happen in relationships that could make you feel tender in some kind of way. So yeah, I feel like you guys are kind of having some hard choices to make with the Two of Swords. Like, what direction am I going in? Who am I going to be? What is my future? And depending on what direction you go in, that dictates who's going to be around you. So this Two of Swords really does indicate having hard decisions that are going to affect you on, a social level, but also just like on every level of your life to some degree. With the Hierophant in reverse, part of your advice is to break from your routine. If you have a specific way of doing things or a specific version of what you want your life to look like, it's time to get out of that. You need to kind of shake up your concept of your future here. You need to think outside of the box, or think of different ways that you can get to your end result that are actually going to be a lot better for you. There's just something here where it's like you've probably always done something a certain way, or you've been maybe a little bit more practical and more conservative with certain decisions. And this Aquarius New Moon is saying, let's actually think differently, especially with it being ruled by Saturn in Pisces. Pisces is very imaginative and it's open to many possibilities. And Aquarius wants progress and to keep iterating something until you get to the best and most, I guess like inventive and idyllic kind of result. So if you have a certain way of doing things, it might be, you might realize just how outdated it has become because you've just been rinsing and repeating. And so this is a time in your life where it's time to question and think outside of the box with your current ideas. So your advice card is she who forgives, remorse, guilt, and forgiveness, and she who stands, resolute, implacable, and determined. I think it's implacable. Implacable? You'll have to let me know if you guys know. So some of you guys can have some issues within your relationships. Again, Mars in the 11th square, Chiron in the 8th. There can be people that come up with issues from the past, or things that you have felt, again, a little bit sensitive to in regards to your relationships that you need to forgive yourself or forgive others for. So there can be some important conversations that you have within certain relationships at this time. So this is part of your advice. It's just to forgive and move on and to not sit in guilt. It's unnecessary to sit in guilt if you've done something wrong. Forgive yourself, forgive the other person, and turn a new leaf. That's what an Aquarius new moon is about. We also have she who stands, resolute, implacable, implacable, and determined. So there's something in your life where I feel like you guys need to be keeping your eye on the prize when it comes to it, keeping your boundaries up, your standards high, your vision clear when it comes to it. Let me pull some more cards around this because there's something that you need to, not waver on in your life. But let's pull more cards to see what that is. Maybe a clarifier for she who stands. So we have the Nine of Cups and the High Priestess in reverse. So there's something about like what you really want, basically. The High Priestess, when it's upright, represents something that's kind of shrouded in mystery. And it's like, ooh, like, I don't know what this is going to look like or if I want this or that. I feel like there's something very clear here where the universe is saying, actually, you know exactly what you want. I think your path of getting there is going to be reinvented and changed. And maybe certain facets of your goals can change as a result of that. But the true desire, I think, is definitely going to remain the same. And the High Priestess in reverse is trying to say, you already know what this is. And you might sometimes like confuse yourself and overthink things, especially with Mercury and Pluto. You might overthink obsessively about things and worry or whatever. You can get in your own way a little bit. And I feel like this new moon is trying to tell you, just take the steps, like be willing to reinvent the actions to get to this goal, be willing to do things differently and create a different kind of routine. But you know what that goal is in your heart. You do know something that you actually really desire. This could be a certain career goal, a relationship, a desire to live somewhere, or travel somewhere. You might not have all of the information on the steps. You might not have every single thing that's going to look like when you get there, but there is a seed of the idea that you are certain about. And I feel like this is what you're meant to be determined with. So this is saying, don't let things get in the way of this goal. With the Two of Swords, there's important decisions that you need to make, and these decisions need to get you closer to this Nine of Cups soul desire that you have. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Virgo. I feel like this is just a commitment here to yourself and to your desires. And if you need to change your behavior in order to further commit to that or discipline yourself in order to get there, that is also encouraged as well. And relationships might be a part of this, where you have to let certain people go or release certain things, release guilt and forgive around certain things to clear up your energy, to get focused on what actually makes sense for you in terms of what you're wanting, and clear up all of the messiness that that can get in the way of that. So much I'm seeing for you, Virgo. If that resonates, please let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next is Libra rising. So for you guys, or Libra sun. So for you guys, this Aquarius new moon happening on January 29th is taking place in your 5th house. And generally, the 5th house is a little bit more auspicious than some of the other ones. So I do like to see that. A new moon in the 5th house can indicate that there is some kind of new prosperity coming for you in the area of a relationship, with children, with some kind of creative hobby or something that brings you joy, or some other type of way of expressing yourself, for example. But I see that whatever this is something that's going to make you feel like you're having some kind of new emotional beginning, something that feels really positive for you. The ruler of this moon is Saturn, and it is in your 6th house. So this could be related to your health or some changes that you've made to your work life or your routine life that has created a lot more inner strength and confidence. So maybe you have, for example, started to do journaling in the evenings, or you've been working out more, or you've been working on balancing your hormones. Whatever it is, I see you doing something that is building up your sense of confidence and self-worth, that with the Ace of Cups will help you with some kind of like new emotional beginning that feels, when I say new emotional beginning, it's like some kind of new beginning in your life that affects you on the emotional plane, like a new relationship, or learning how to express yourself emotionally in a new way, or have some kind of new hobby that inspires you. So let's see what else is going on here. Like I mentioned, this ruler of this moon is Saturn in the 6th, and it's in Pisces. So there is some type of kind of flowy energy as well. And if there is some kind of area of your life that has felt a little bit unhealthy, or like a little bit emotionally disappointing, because Saturn being in the 6th house of health also talks about mental health and emotional health as well. If there has been something in regards to that has felt like you've been let down, or something's been disappointing you, then I can see with this Star card that you're going to come into a period of having more hope, because ultimately Saturn in Pisces in particular is about flowing with the universe, trusting the universe, and having hope reignited within you. So there's some kind of, again, new emotional beginning for you guys, something that you may have lost faith in, lost hope in, or had some kind of recent disappointment in, with the Sun in reverse and 5 of Cups in reverse. I see you coming out of this phase. Yeah, the 5 of Cups is usually where we are let down by someone or something in our life, or something just doesn't pan out. And so I feel like this is coming in, this Aquarius New Moon is a lot about, in many ways, kind of perspective shifts. And so for you guys, it seems like you're shifting into a more positive perspective. We do have Mars, though, moving through Cancer retrograde in your 10th house, which is squaring Chiron in your 7th. So this might have to deal with something in regards to relationships, especially with the stomach card. I mean, some of you guys could literally have a stomach thing going on right now. The 6th house often can deal with gut issues, but even if it's not, there might be something in your life that you're having trouble accepting. And it could be around, again, relationships, or maybe something around career, or an intersection of those two areas of life. But with Mars retrograde square that Chiron, there's just a little bit of sensitivity here. So it's like maybe somebody out, some boss disappointed you, or your partner, doesn't have the same goals as you, or you guys are on different pages with something. These are just examples, but it could be really anything. And you just might feel like that's been an area of, sensitivity. And I feel like this new moon is trying to help you kind of accept the circumstances for how they are, and establish some kind of new phase of being really strong within yourself and feeling more hopeful and more emotionally fulfilled, rather than focusing on that disappointment and having, trouble kind of digesting or accepting something for how it is. So yeah, we have she who doubts, fear, wariness, and trust. Maybe somebody, broke your trust, or maybe you have fear around something happening again, or maybe you're fearing some kind of negative outcome, especially with Mercury and Pluto. Some of us can get a little bit suspicious or in our heads about things, or a little bit more fear focused. So that might be an experience that you've been going through. And I feel like this new moon, again, is trying to help you kind of come out of that. You might still experience it right now, but I feel like you're on the tail end of it. And this new moon is setting a new beginning for you to feel more like emotionally satisfied. And I think a lot of that will have to deal with accepting certain things how they are, and also establishing like an improvement in some type of relationship or an improvement in your work with something. And I think it's all going to come down to communication. This is your advice card. So I think all of this is going to rely on you being really open with the people in your life, or whoever this is pertaining to. It says, it's time to move ahead with projects and plans. There are new ways of thinking and approaching challenges, which is exactly the whole idea and scope of this new moon, is new ways of approaching a challenge. And even life, if you are willing to listen to what could be an alternate communication method with concepts you may have dismissed in the past, sharing ideas, considering partnerships, gathering information, and stepping up are all indicated. So yeah, I think that this is a time where you're meant to be definitely, like this card is saying, communicating your ideas, communicating how you feel about things, being really open with people so that you can establish a greater relationship with people, but also so that you can move forward with certain things that you might be excited about, because the 5th house is a very social house. And so to have a new moon here does indicate that you might find people come into your life to help support some kind of goal that you have. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Libra. If that resonates, I'd love to hear from you down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next we have Scorpio rising and sun. This Aquarius new moon happening on January 29th is taking place in your 4th house of home and family. So you guys might have some type of new beginning in this area of your life. You may have a little bit of shakeup or some news or some interesting things happening with the people that you live with your family, or with just something concerning your home location. So this new moon, I've been saying, is a lot about kind of overcoming some type of hurdle by doing something differently. So if this makes sense in regards to your home and family, then you can apply it to that situation as well. However, the ruler of this moon, Saturn, is in Pisces, which is in your 5th house. So there's something here about aligning more with what your heart desires when we have something in the 5th house. So if there's something within your home or your family situation that is dissatisfying to you, that you want to make some kind of change with, this could be really something simple like renovating, some space, or having some, different conversations with family members. This new moon is all about doing that, basically making those necessary changes to bring you more joy. So let me talk about some of the cards that I'm seeing, and then we'll get into the rest of the astrology. So I pulled the Devil and the 2 of Swords. And the 10 of Cups in reverse. So there could be something going on with the 10 of Cups in reverse. This gives me the feeling of like something going on in your life that is making you unhappy. That, usually the 4th house, it represents your home and family, but it also represents your emotional stability. And so with this in reverse, there could be something that's making you feel a little bit out of whack. The Devil and then the 2 of Swords could be making you feel like you're a little bit in a phase right now where you might feel a little bit stuck or trapped, or you could feel limited or frustrated by certain conditions that's happening in society, in work, in your family, in your home, in your life. You might feel somehow just limited in an unhappy environment. And with the 2 of Swords, there is something that you want to make a choice to get out of this, but there's also uncertainty. So there's just something in your life right now that I feel like you might feel a little bit unhappy. Yeah, unhappy with the way things are. So something that's affecting you in your inner security and your emotional security, even financial security, like that sense of, feeling really safe and protected, or something going on in your physical living environment, your home environment, something going on with your family, some kind of situation that is, again, making you feel somehow limited and unhappy in some type of way. And I feel like this new moon is helping you get out of that. So with the Ace of Wands and the Moon card, it's really important to express how you're feeling about things with the Moon card. It's obviously trust your instincts, trust your intuition, but also express what you're thinking and what you're feeling in order to lay everything out there on the table. Because there's still, I feel like, some hidden things that are going on when we have the moon card come out. There's some things that are happening that is beyond maybe like that is unspoken in certain dynamics, or that is beyond your ability to see right now. This could indicate it's coming up, but you can't see it yet. And the Ace of Wands is some kind of like spark reigniting for you, something that feels maybe inspiring for you. So coming out of a phase of feeling maybe a little bit like trapped and uncertain, and coming into a phase of feeling more like passion and reignited, but you might not know how this is going to happen yet with the moon card, or there might be some unknowns to the equation somehow. Yeah, I pulled the transition card. Exactly. I feel like you're in this phase of like transition. You're moving from, I don't know, like maybe there's something around your current way of living and your current sense of security that's actually displeasing right now. And then you're moving into there's something that's going to happen that you can't see yet, that you're transitioning into a phase of more like hope and excitement and inspiration, and something that I think is going to give you a lot more energy, because right now you might not have a ton of energy. Cauliflower heralds a change. This might have happened recently or be happening soon. The energy around you is unsettled. A rebirth can take place now. And if you're holding on to what has gone before, it's time to let go for good. A reactivation can take place in any area of your life that there has been a lull or a setback. Exactly. If you've been somehow like set back with this Devil card, limited, stuck, trapped, if there's been any kind of that energy within your home, within your family, within your finances, or emotional security, I think that you'll notice that there's some kind of transition happening at this Aquarius New Moon. You might not actually know exactly what this is, but there's going to be some kind of instigating event or something that catalyzes an exciting new opportunity to you. And especially with that Saturn in the 5th house, it's going to be something that brings you joy, that lights you up, that makes you feel passionate again. So definitely a lot of change happening here. Mars, your planetary ruler, is also in Cancer retrograde in the 9th house and squaring Chiron in the 6th. So some of you guys might be having certain faith and tests that are challenging your faith right now. And you might feel a little bit emotionally, physically, mentally, a little bit off kilter or off balance as a result of this square. Having boundaries and structure in your life can be very healing though, because the 6th house is a house of routine. So if you can have some type of boundaries around social media or routine in terms of your sleep or the types of foods that you're eating, if you can somehow kind of mitigate, feeling unsettled in a lot of areas of your life, if you can look at, because you are in an unsettled time, things are changing, things are transitioning. And if you can create boundaries and structure where it supports you, where things don't need to change, I think that will really suit you well at this time to create more mental and physical stability within you right now. Let's see any other advice or context going on here. Any other advice or context here? We have the She Who Listens, understanding, witness, and compassion. Yeah, so I really feel like this time with that moon card is about listening to your own intuition and your own emotions, but also expressing them. Allow yourself to be witness. If you're struggling with something, emotionally, for example, if things are really feeling in flux in the world for you or in your life for you and you need support, reach out for that support. This is a very social moon in the sense that we're all being encouraged to embrace our community and help one another. So if you need to be witnessed or if other people need to witness you, this is the time to do so. So that is what I'm seeing for you, Scorpio. I hope that makes sense for you. If so, please let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next we have Sagittarius rising and sun. This Aquarius new moon happening on the 29th of January is taking place in your 3rd house. And it's interesting because the first card that I pulled is a judgment card, and the third house is often about making important decisions or having certain awakenings or realizations, because the third house rules our mind and our communication. Aquarius is also a sign of awakening. So there's going to be some kind of realization or important decision that you need to make, a judgment call, or some kind of period of enlightenment where you see something through new eyes, or you make, again, an important decision, maybe even from those new eyes. So you could have important conversations right now, as well as be just having realizations in general. The ruler of this new moon is Saturn, which is falling in your 4th house with Pisces and next to, pretty close to Venus. So there's also a pretty strong emphasis here on the home, on the family, on the past. And I kind of am getting the feeling that you're needing to walk away from some kind of comfort zone here. And I see that with the 8 of Cups in reverse and the 8 of Swords. There's something in the past that you're needing to leave behind. Again, this could be something that you've grown really accustomed to, really familiar with. And because of that, with that Saturn in the 4th, there can be sometimes an emotional attachment to it. But with the Judgment, I feel like you're making a very important decision right now to step out of something. So with the 8 of Cups in reverse and the 8 of Swords upright, I think that this is something that you are resisting, though, walking away from, resisting some kind of change, some kind of end. I think it's almost giving you some anxiety to make some important decision like this. But it feels like it's setting you on a new path with the Page of Wands that is actually going to be really more of an adventure for you, and kind of, again, stepping into the unknown in a lot of ways. The Page of Wands usually is somebody who is very much a free spirit, and they are unafraid to try new things and experiment, and they have fun exploring their reality around them. And that is what a new beginning in the 3rd house is supposed to be. It's supposed to be exploratory and opening up your mind and discovering new things and learning new things. And if you are getting too stuck in your current viewpoint or the way that you currently do things, or you know how your comfort is, and like, oh, I always go about my work this way, or I always talk to these certain people, or I always have this kind of routine. I don't know, there's something here where it's like, no, it's time to try something new. It's time to leave that something in the past behind, or some kind of comfort zone behind, and go on an adventure here. Part of your advice here is the Spine card. And the spine is obviously central to the whole body, and it supports us through having important boundaries in our life. So one of the pieces of advice here is to have important boundaries with yourself and maybe with others right now, as you are getting kind of clear on these decisions that you're making. Let me see what else the spine represents in this deck, if I can find it. The support. Yeah. So first of all, boundaries are a way that we support ourselves, but this is also talking about feeling the weight of expectations and responsibilities, taking on too much, feeling like we have to live up to something that we have agreed to for others. And this is telling you to delegate, to share the load, to lighten things if you can, or release yourself from other people's expectations and get clear on what your priorities are. So there could be something, again, that you're walking away from, that you're anxious to, or that you need to walk away from, but you don't want to. And it could be maybe an extra level of responsibility for someone else or something else. Maybe it's something you've already committed to and you're nervous about saying no to it, or somehow downgrading the commitment to it. So maybe you don't say no, but you do it less, for example. I don't know. I just see you maybe needing to change the way that you go about things. And again, this is coming from a place of awakening, like you having some kind of realization that, hey, maybe this thing isn't sustainable anymore. Or maybe I've always done it that way because I'm familiar with that way, but actually it's leaving me feeling really trapped. And with the Page of Wands, whatever decision that you make, whatever this awakening is, or this realization is it's opening up your path more. It could be giving you more time, more freedom, more autonomy. There's just something here where it's like, it's either going to inspire you more, or it's going to give you more energy. There's something about that I think is going to be very freeing. And then part of this message is she who becomes. Metamorphosis, transcend, and journey. So yeah, I think you're transcending an old way of doing things or an old way of seeing things in order to go on a path that actually feels more lighthearted. But I do feel like there's a lot of resistance there. And I think part of that resistance is coming from Mars in the 8th house. Mars in the 8th is retrograding. So, you know, wherever it is, we're kind of going through an analysis of like how we're doing certain things in our life. This is in the area of transformation, the 8th house, as well as like reliance on one another and money that you get from other people. So there could be something in regards to relationships that you're a little bit uncertain about with this Mars retrograde squaring Chiron in the 5th. You might just feel like, oh, I don't want to step on this person's toes, or I'm scared to let something go in my life, or, you know, I'm scared to not have this support system by having this money from this person and having to maybe get support in other ways. So whatever this is, I do see some trepidation around this transformation and around letting something go. But ultimately, I feel like it's going to serve you to look at this area of your life from new eyes, if you know what area I'm talking about, and ask yourself what would feel the most freeing, but still somewhat, you know, stable and supportive for me. So that is kind of how you're meant to move and adjust with your long-term goals. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Sagittarius. If that resonates, please let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next we have Capricorn rising and sun. This Aquarius New Moon happening on the 29th is taking place in your 2nd house. So for my Capricorns, this is a time where we're meant to be thinking outside of the box, or be thinking in a way that is more progressive when it comes to your finances or the things that you own. So maybe, for example, you've always kind of thought about you know, your money in a certain way, or maybe you've gotten into a bad routine when it comes to certain elements of your money. And now is a time for you to make necessary changes. The ruler of this moon is Saturn, and it's in Pisces in your 3rd house. So there's a need to change up your perspective with things. And I can see with the Hanged Man, this could indicate that maybe a few different things. Maybe you have a certain idea of what you want to do with your money or the things that you own, and you are meant to be making adjustments to them, or like reprioritizing different things in your life, and that could affect you financially as well. But the Hangman can also indicate a period of inactivity. So if you've been in a period where things have kind of given a lull, or you've paused certain things when it comes to, you know, you're managing your money, maybe you were budgeting and then you stopped, or maybe you were trying to make extra money and then you stopped. If there's been anything like that, especially if you've had any kind of pauses as a result of maybe some difficulties in life or some disappointing outcomes, like you were putting effort into something consistently and then it doesn't really pay off in the past, or, you know, you were really good at budgeting, but then like something came up in your life and it threw you off. If there's something like that, I think that this new moon is about getting you back on track, thinking about your future again in a more kind of progressive way of how do I make progress is what I'm trying to say. And this new moon is a lot about overcoming challenges by acting in a different way or behaving differently. You guys might need to first look at some of your mindset when it comes to this new type of behavior, because you could be like really keeping yourself stuck unnecessarily through your own mindset limitations. So you might think like, oh, I can't do that because I don't have time, or because of X, Y, and Z, or I had that past failure and so now I'm scared to try again. There's something like that. And I feel like you're meant to be getting out of your own way at this new moon. And again, with the Hierophant in reverse, doing something alternative, doing something different, shaking up your strategy or your routine or the structure of your life, or not following the tradition anymore. And it's going to bring you into a more prosperous time. So again, if you've always kind of made money in a certain way or managed your stuff in a certain way, or always had certain priorities in your life, I really feel like the universe is saying, no, let's think about this through new eyes. Let's go back to the drawing board a little bit. And I can see this with she who creates creativity, originality, spontaneity. You're meant to be doing something that is more, again, original to you. So this could look like something that doesn't quite follow the structure of what other people in your life are doing. And that's a good thing. I feel like that's a sign that you're doing things right at this time. You also have Mars in the 7th house squaring Chiron in the 4th. Mars is retrograding Cancer. There could be some stuff going on relationship-wise that could be causing you a little bit of distress, or, you know, stuff with your family, or stuff, just any one of those things, basically, where I feel like you might feel that your sense of stability in regards to these relationships is a little bit more challenged, or you might be just emotionally sensitive about it. And that might be part of what this 5 of Cups is, that's kind of getting in the way of you pursuing your material stability and prioritizing certain things in your life. And so this new moon is saying, how can you think originally? How can you be adaptive and, kind of get ahead of things, or, I don't know, just not get bogged down by those circumstances, because you might have some limiting beliefs that come up as a result of them, or some anxiety as a result of them, and it's not actually necessary for you. Okay, so your advice, we have the Skin, which is about boundaries. So some of you guys might need to make certain boundaries, certain routines, certain structures in your life in order to create this sense of stability. And this new moon is trining Jupiter in your 6th. So having some kind of structure within your work routine and your health routine is going to do wonders for you. And making sure that that's something that you advocate for in your relationship, so that other people know and expect from you, so that everybody, nobody's caught off guard, right? Everybody kind of knows, like, oh, every day at this time she's working out, or every day at this time she's in bed. So it's like, okay, I'm not going to bother her, right? I'm not going to ask for things that she can't provide. Okay, your other advice card is the Blood, which it's so hard to find stuff in this stupid deck. This pamphlet that's like falling apart. Okay, just give me like 35 minutes and I'll be done. Okay, Blood. Okay, teamwork, unity, support, and defend. So your other piece of advice is to not have to do things alone. This is a time where you can work as a part of a team, rely more on others. And that's why I was saying having a routine can help everybody else can work with you to get something done, do some, like, they can know what to expect. Like, okay, these are the times I need to support her. This is times when she's not available. You can rely on your teammates as much as they rely on you, and together you are unstoppable. If one member is experiencing difficulties, this can create imbalance. Regularly check in with yourself and the members of your circle. So this is your advice, my Capricorns. This is a time where you're meant to be establishing what your priorities are, working on building up your finances, overcoming any obstacles, and not letting limiting beliefs or disappointments get you stuck and not moving. This is a time where you need to be moving forward despite the feeling or the thoughts that tell you that you can't. So again, that's what I'm seeing for you, Capricorn. If that resonates, please let me know in the comments down below. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, next we have Aquarius rising and sun. So for you guys, this Aquarius new moon is happening in your 1st house on January 29th. And it's a time of reinvention in many ways. I feel like whenever we have Aquarius, we're asking ourselves, how can I maybe do something differently? And for you guys, interestingly enough, there might be something in regards to letting go of the past, with the 6 of Cups in reverse. It's almost like, yeah, and I wonder if this is because Saturn, the ruler of this new moon, is in Pisces. And Pisces, I feel like, has sometimes this kind of like melancholic, I think there's this like Portuguese word, saudade, if I'm saying that right. Kind of a longing for what was or what could have been. Yeah, there's something in regards to that where it's like maybe focusing a lot on, maybe you guys are kind of getting caught up in that energy of like, yeah, what elements of the past, reminiscing, deja vu, nostalgia. That's the kind of vibe that I'm thinking of. And not that that's a negative thing, but I don't know. I feel like you're meant to be looking ahead, even though, you know, Saturn is in Pisces, which can bring about that energy. Aquarius, and especially with this trine to Jupiter, it wants you to be thinking about, like, how can we create a life for ourselves that feels like it's moving us forward. And one of the things that I think is coming up really strongly is that this new moon is a very relationally focused new moon, even though it is about yourself. And I can see that in the cards. I pulled 3 and 6 of Pentacles. So there's something here around you guys, I feel like, yearning for or wanting or looking for, or maybe even establishing as a result of this new moon, some type of equality in your work, feeling like you are actually being valued in some type of way or getting paid what you deserve. And that makes a lot of sense with Saturn being in the 2nd house of finances. Saturn again describes this new moon. So you're going through some kind of reinvention, I feel like, to make some kind of progress, to establish better pay or more equal kind of partnerships, or a better work environment with your colleagues, something where you're getting the kind of accolades you deserve in a sense. And that might be an area of sensitivity for you because Mars is currently retrograding through your 6th house of work and teamwork. So you might have had to ask yourself, like, if this area of your life looks like how you want it to, you know, do you need to approach your work differently, or your colleagues differently, or your routines differently? And Mars is squaring Chiron in your 3rd. So there could be certain insecurities that you have, or, you know, sensitivities to things that have happened in the past where things maybe were unfair or they didn't go really well and you have issues with colleagues, for example. And I feel like this new moon in Aquarius is trying to help you let go of those elements of your past dynamics and step forward into more equal kinds of relationships with people. So there could be, again, that kind of reminiscing energy, but it also could come from an emotional place of fear of that happening again, almost. Like, I kind of want to put myself out there, but last time I did that, I got rejected, or last time I tried to get that raise, it didn't go well, or I tried to work with this kind of team and I ended up having to leave because of this X, Y, and Z issue. Something like this, where you guys are, I feel like, wanting to have some kind of community or work together with people on something, but there's a little bit of that energy of like something that's happened in the past is creeping up emotionally here for me. You have the Page and Wands and Temperance in reverse. So I also kind of feel like part of this time for you is meant to be a little bit less inhibited. With the Page of Wands, Temperance in reverse, it's like, let your hair down, you know, do your best to not overthink so much. You do have Mercury and Pluto together in your sign in Aquarius, which does tend towards overthinking. And it can be sometimes, you know, an energy of anxiety or worry. And I feel like the cards are trying to say, like, that's not the vibe right now. Especially with this new moon trining Jupiter in the 5th. It's a lot about like, let's go out, let's have fun, let's put our hair down, let's not try to be maybe even acting in moderation. Like, I'm going to drink too much tonight. I'm going to spend too much. I'm going to stay up too late. And that's okay sometimes. This new moon has that energy of like celebration and lightheartedness. And I think that's going to help you kind of get out of, like, oh, that thing that happened, It can help you just kind of get more in the present moment and just enjoy more of your life right now. Just feels like there's a lot of random messages here, but anything else, Spirit, that you really want my Aquarius to know? Yeah, because this seems like a time where you're meant to be getting your bag and you're meant to be getting your just dues, but this also means that you have to really value yourself. And if you've had relationships that have undervalued you or haven't listened to you or haven't treated you as an equal, it's really important to be considering how you can how you can create a new beginning where that doesn't happen for you. Tomatoes inspire and invite love into your life in all types on all levels. So this could indicate new relationships coming to you with that Jupiter in the 5th house. And this is a new moon in the 1st. So sometimes it does create a mirroring effect with the house opposite, which is the 7th house of relationships. So this could indicate new people coming into your life. Alignment is signified as are chances for an increase in assets. Again, more money coming to you. Plans are liable to change, definitely with this Aquarius energy. We're meant to be changing up how we do things. You should be ready for adaptation in this and other areas. Completely agree. Be careful to communicate effectively with partners and close friends. Yes, definitely. So that's what I'm saying for you, Aquarius. It feels like overall a positive energy where you're stepping into more kind of a phase of reinventing yourself to get more money, to create better relationships for yourself that are more equal. It feels like you're letting your hair down, having fun. So a lot of good things are coming to you, and you might even meet some new people. So that's what I'm seeing for you. If this resonates, let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, and last but not least, we have Pisces rising and sun. So for my Pisces, this Aquarius new moon takes place in your 12th house. And the 12th house is the house of what is unseen from ourselves, what is often coming through in subtle ways into our lives. It influences our lives, but it's not always as tangible as other new moons. It could also indicate as well like the beginning of some kind of ending, because the 12th house is the final house of the zodiac. So let's see what some of these cards are saying. I will say also the ruler of this new moon, Saturn, is in Pisces in your 1st house. So whatever this is, if there is something ending in your life right now, this is creating the way for a new beginning for yourself. So just keep that in mind. But let's pull a few more cards before I get into that explanation. So I did pull the 2 of Wands. The 2 of Wands is an energy of planning, of having a vision for your life. And with this being in the 12th house, this could come through like an intuition or an instinct rather than a very set vision. You could be imagining and dreaming up what you want for your future right now. It kind of feels like you're at the whiteboard and you're just drawing and you're configuring things that you think, this would be fun, this would be fun. I could be this type of person. I could go in this direction. I could live in this place. And it could be on a smaller scale too, if there's one specific project that you're thinking about, or if you have some wiggle room or leeway in some area of your life, you just might be envisioning about all the possibilities and potentials here. And there is so much energy in your 1st house with Venus, Neptune, and North Node all here. So it really is a time of exploring who you are, and especially like, what do you want to do with your career? What do you want to do with your life direction, with your goals in your life? Like with the time that you have here on this earth, this is very much like an imaginative, dreamy kind of time. This Aquarius new moon could be in a phase where you're thinking about all that. But again, you don't have to have all of these kind of concrete answers of like, this is my exact plan. But I do feel like you're in a time of maybe feeling a little bit inspired. Again, career, finances, that could be something very much top of mind for you. So if that's not something that's settled into in your life already, and you maybe have a little bit of wiggle room, or if there's something like that in your life right now that you could potentially be making changes with, this is an encouragement to be in that phase of planning and dreaming and be inspired around that. The King of Pentacles could also represent just something on a physical plane. It doesn't have to be finances or career, but it could just be something that you want to do like in the world that you want to accomplish. And it could show that there's something that here where you want to have some level of prestige, or you want to reach a certain height within it. And I really feel like you guys can have that if that's what you want. I pulled the Ace of Swords. So some of you guys might be having some new ideas. It's crazy because all the other groups were getting a ton of reversals and all of yours are upright. So you guys might be having some new ideas come to you that could help inspire this goal, or give you some kind of like next steps for you on this path towards a creative goal. And you do have Mars retrograding through your 5th house. So some of your creative endeavors, or the way that you, if there's anything that feels like a more kind of creative project, doesn't have to be creative in the most traditional sense, but just something that feels like very inspiring and very expressive of who you are. That's what 5th house is. With Mars retrograding here, you might have an opportunity to analyze how you're going about that. And there might be a different way of expressing yourself, a different type of project to do, or a different way of pursuing the project. Let's see, I pulled the Mouth card as advice for your hue. Truth, communication, and emotional expression. You may have been purposely holding back or having difficulty vocalizing your thoughts, feelings, and opinions. Open communication is vital. So try to vocalize and share your deeper feelings, not just surface level ones. Yeah, I know. I'm curious if this is because, you know, Mercury and Pluto are together in the 12th. Mercury and Pluto together are usually meant to be a way that we can form deeper intimacy and really share things with others. But again, it's in this invisible house. So that might feel like a little bit less accessible to you. And that might be why this is advice, because this energy is there, but you have to maybe be more intentional in acting on it. So yeah, I feel like you guys, again, are coming into a phase of having a new idea, potentially for work, something that you're maybe excited about, or just some kind of hobby or some kind of goal that you are interested in. But this could involve other people, or this could affect other people, or you could be also having something happening in a social way with Mars regressing through the retrograding through the 5th house, squaring Chiron in the 2nd. Yeah, there just could be, I'm curious about what's going on with relationships. Yeah, love, hope, relationships. Something's going on with relationships right now. And I think that's the Mars retrograding the 5th, where you guys might be questioning certain elements of relationships, or your creative projects. And you're like, how am I going about my relationship? How am I going about my creative project? Am I expressing myself in the right way in both of these areas? Let me pull some cards on that in the tarot. What do they need to know about this? What does Pisces need to know about this? The Hanged One. What do they need to know about their relationships right now? Spirit. The Hanged One and the 5 of Pentacles. Some of you guys might be really like throwing yourself a pity party, or like kind of stuck in some type of energy. Like the Hanged One is somebody who's suspended and who's like paused. And then the 5 of Pentacles is like lack, feeling left out in the cold, in that sense of like, I'm not being supported, So there might be something here where you guys are like feeling bad about something, and you're kind of sitting in that negativity. And I feel like part of what this advice here is for you is to express more about how you feel, and you'll see that it helps you open up a lot. It helps you focus on like the positives, because you're letting out that negative that you're kind of stewing in. If you just sit in it and you don't express it to the person that it involves, it can get stuck in you and just, again, get perpetuated. So I really feel like part of your advice here, you kind of have 2 different messages, but part of your advice here is to speak your mind, speak your heart about certain issues that are going on. And I think that's the Mars squaring Chiron. And then the other element here is that there is some potential goal or work thing that you might be really excited about and that you have new ideas about coming to at this Aquarius new moon. So that is what I'm seeing for you, Pisces. If that resonates, let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye.